Okay, my name is Darren Joseph from HEJ.tax. We're a team that seeks to demystify the sometimes confusing world of cross-border taxation. And today we have the honor and the privilege of joining us, Edward Gordon. Edward, could you please introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Edward Gordon. I own a company called Preservation Capital Partners. We've been doing tax structure work for over 30 years, both for U.S. domestic and for non-U.S. families and entrepreneurs. Some actors, some athletes, but not a whole lot. Mostly entrepreneurs and wealthy families.
Fantastic. And today we're going to talk about an often misunderstood concept called PPLIs. What are generally speaking, we can probably dive into it later on, but generally speaking, what are the purposes or the variety of, applications for a structure like this?
There are a lot. One is obviously it provides death benefit to typically a trust and estate planning. Life insurance by nature has asset protection value. 99% of what we do is owned by trust, so that has its own asset protection nature as well. So, but for investing purposes, just like in the retail variable life policy, you'll find, companies have the accumulator 6 and the, whatever. And you're looking to drive cash value rate of return, which ultimately pushes up the value of death benefit. And you can own assets in there that normally would have been tax inefficient had you held them in your own name or in or what I call a naked trust. So the way the trust would have taxation. Here, the insurance policy can invest in those assets I'll give you, for instance, a credit investment, which is all the rage right now. So we go out, we buy these credit investments and they produce a 12% coupon return. And if you live in a high tax area, you may be paying up to 50% of that in taxes. Now you have a 6% rate of return when you could buy treasuries at 5%. That's not such a good deal. But if you're in a life insurance structure and the cost of that structure on the high end is, let's say, 1%. So now you're earning 12%, you're paying 1% to the insurance company and the reinsurer, and you're compounding at 11%. Well, all of a sudden, that's a game changer. So that might be a good investment for the type of policy you have, although you have to assess risk, right? For U.S. persons, this works really well for exactly those reasons. For non-U.S. persons that normally could be subject to U.S. taxation, whether it's pre-immigration planning or just a non-U.S. taxpayer who wants to invest in certain U.S. asset classes that are subject to U.S. taxation. We use these insurance policies or annuities, which is really just the insurance policy without the death benefit, to hold these portfolios of assets. So I was just in a conference in Guatemala with a number of families most of them were more than 100-year-old family businesses in Latin America. And if you look around the world as to where you want to own assets, there's not a lot of countries where great wealth can hold great, large amounts of investments. A lot of people do want to invest in the U.S. A lot of people don't want to be subject to U.S. taxation because you could be a U.S. taxpayer without being a citizen. And so this is a neat way to hold assets so they're not subject to U.S. tax, especially for somebody who may have their children that go to college here, fall in love with somebody and live here, and maybe they're going to inherit non-U.S., they're going to inherit assets from the non-U.S. parent. These are ways of holding assets in policies, in trust, to make those transactions far more efficient from a tax perspective.
So I'm thinking in terms of just general estate planning, wealth management, retirement planning, charitable giving, pre-immigration planning, probably into and out of the U.S., depending on what you're trying to do and what your circumstances are.
So if you're a 6, 7, or 8-figure investor, entrepreneur, or business owner who needs a tailor-made solution from a qualified team of professionals, we can help you achieve the international lifestyle, the freedom, and even the tax savings you're looking for. Visit us at htj.tax and live that international life.